Today we're looking at how to make chicken enchiladas.
Mouth-watering family recipes, easy-to-make meals, humor and faith fill the inspiring show Dano on the Counter. Born with only half a spine, Dano Burkhardt was never supposed to be able to hold his head up. Despite countless surgeries, a stroke, leg amputations, and kidney transplants, Dano developed a contagious love for life. Join Dano as he shares his easy-to-make dishes and the hope that keeps him pushing forward.
For the chicken enchiladas, you'll need 4 chicken breasts, 3 tablespoons of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour, 1 chopped onion, 32 ounces of chicken stock, 16 ounces of sour cream, 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese, burrito-sized tortillas, and green chilies or jalapenos. All right. Drop that too hard, you'll end up popping your tires. You take it easy on that. Nothing worse than a flat tire. All right, let's get some groceries. All right, so for this recipe, we're gonna make chicken enchiladas. So since we're gonna be baking that cheese and making a sauce with it, we're gonna shred her up. So we're gonna buy block sharp cheddar cheese. Two breasts, 3 packets. Need 4. So just 2 of these. There you go. Tortilla. Flour tortillas, burrito size. Those are the ones you want. In the cart. Green chilies. Sour cream. Start out 16 ounces. Yeah, just one of these. Good to go. This is all for the cheese side. Chilies. You can also substitute, put in jalapenos if you want, depending on how spicy your taste buds are. So, green chilies though, just add a little something to it.
Hi, my name is Dad Dick.
And I'm Aiden. We're the 5th generation of Dick's Home Care.
And our family is here for your health.
If you're considering a lift chair, call or stop in and see us at Dick's Home Care. Our chairs come in a wide variety of fabrics and finishes. We even have chairs that are able to be closer to your wall in case you have a small space.
Dick's Home Care, Central Pennsylvania's leader in mobility products.
Impact Productions, a multi-layer technology company providing on-site, online, and in-studio video services. Contact Impact Productions to capture your story.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Today we're gonna make some creamy chicken enchiladas. One of my favorite dishes to eat, quick and easy. You can actually prepare the chicken overnight the night before and just make it that day and put it in the oven and have it ready to go within like a half an hour. So let's get started. First, you're gonna need chicken, obviously. So we're gonna start with 4 chicken breasts. You're gonna take them and you can actually put them in your crock pot and cook them on low for 6 hours, and that'll cook the chicken. So you take raw chicken, throw the crock pot, take it out. And it's gonna look like this, cooked chicken. So once your chicken is cooled and come out of the crock pot, you're just gonna shred it. And you can do it by hand. Just break it apart into little bite-sized pieces. Your chicken's gonna be all shredded and ready to go. And then you're gonna make your cheese sauce to mix with your chicken to put in your enchiladas. So let's start that. All right. To cook your cheese sauce, it's like similar to our other episode where we did the au gratin potatoes. You're gonna make a simple cheese sauce. Medium, low heat. You don't wanna go too crazy here. You're gonna need 3 tablespoons of butter. Get that going. Once that melts, and add your flour. Dump that in. And our liquid for this, instead of using milk, we're going to use chicken stock and sour cream. It's going to make that cheese sauce really creamy. So you're just going to kind of let this come together, let it brown a little bit once it's good and mixed. You start adding your liquids. So you're going to add 32 ounces of chicken stock. Stirring this in. It's going to thicken up. And my chicken stock is cold, so it's going to take a little bit longer to thicken, but once it gets up to a higher temperature, it'll thicken up real nice. At this point, we're going to add onion. Let that get translucent. Just 1 white onion. Throw that in there as well. And it'll cook in with the chicken stock. And you're going to bake it as well. So it's not that it's going to be, it doesn't have to be necessarily sauteed all the way. You're just going to put it in here. We'll add some more chicken stock. Keep on whisking that. So we got our oven preheated at 350 to get that nice toasty cheese crust on them that I like pretty much on everything. So next, as that's getting warm, we'll go ahead and add our sour cream in the place of milk. Whisk that in. That's 16 ounces, 1 small container of sour cream. You're going to whisk that together. Now this is when you got to watch your temperature, because you added dairy into it. You don't want it to curdle, so you got to be careful that your heat's not too high. So we've got our roux, and we got our chicken stock, and then our dairy. And the last step is going to be adding cheese. And this the recipe calls for 2 cups of cheese. You're going to put 1.5 cup in the sauce, and the other 1/2 cup for on top before you put it in the oven. So you're just going to keep on stirring this a little bit. It's going to start thickening up. I actually learned this recipe from one of the girls that I work with, and she actually brings this into work, and she'll make them the night before, and she'll put them in a crock pot. She'll add this cheese sauce to it and bring it in and just keep it on low all day. And as people come in and out of the office, employees, drivers, things like that come in, they just grab one and go. So it's something that you can keep in a crock pot and have like at a party or something like that, or you can take it to work and feed people, or you can have for dinner at night as well. It's a pretty easy recipe. So that's getting pretty thick. Just want to make sure you don't have any lumps in it. And then you can add your cheese. So you're going to add 1.5 cups. Leave a 1/2 cup for on top. And we're just going to stir this in. Now this is going to be a thinner sauce than some of the other sauces. If you want it thicker, you can always add more cheese. You can add a little bit more flour if you need to. But it's pretty thin, and you don't want it. It's not a cheese enchilada, it's a chicken enchilada. So you just kind of want that flavor. And once you get this cheese sauce going, you can actually add other ingredients that you want. You know, if you wanted to put a little bit of cumin in here, or if you wanted to put green chilies or jalapenos, whatever your taste buds can handle, you can add it to this cheese sauce. I usually add green chilies on top at the end, especially if I'm feeding this to a party of people. Some people might not like all that, so you can even have it on the side and they can add to it as much as they want. So that continues to thicken, and then you're going to add your shredded chicken. You got your shredded chicken, just add it right to that cheese sauce. Anything quick and easy is what I like. It tastes pretty darn good too. So you just let this cook, continue to thicken up, and then you're going to be ready to put your enchiladas together. So we got our chicken and our cheese sauce combined here. As you can see, it's really thickened up. And we're going to go ahead and put this in our enchiladas, or make our enchiladas. So we're going to turn this off. We have our casserole dish here. And I bought the burrito size. So we'll take one of those out. All right, so we got our chicken all heated up here, mixed with our cheese sauce. It's all thickened up nice. And then we're going to take a little bit of this cheese sauce, and we're going to put it on the bottom of our pan. And then you're ready to fill your enchilada. So after you coated the bottom of the pan, take your chicken enchilada mixture, put it in the middle of your burrito wrap. You can use any kind of tortilla you want. These are flour. And then you're just going to roll it and then stick it in the pan. And you're just going to continue this process until you used up all your chicken. It's going to fill almost 2 casseroles, so you probably have at least 10 enchiladas, depending on how much chicken you put in each one. Just roll it. Stick it in. add more chicken, and just continue this process, like I said, until you fill your whole casserole. Then you can put some more cheese sauce on top. You can put a little bit on top here. Try to get as much of the cheese sauce as you can. This is a fork meal. You're gonna eat this with a fork. You're not gonna pick this up and eat it like a burrito. And then you're just gonna top it with cheese. And then you're gonna pop it in the oven. 350. 15-20 minutes till that cheese is nice and melted on top. Tortillas are nice and heated. And then you're ready to go. So we'll throw these in the oven and we'll let them cook. Welcome back, guys. And of course, during our break, I was able to make this entire pan of enchiladas here. Broke out different casserole dish even. But we're all good to go here, ready to go in the oven. I add a little paprika on top for a little bit of color. And let's throw it in the oven. We got our oven preheated to 350. We're gonna put it in there just to heat everything through and melt that cheese. Careful not to fall. Throw that in the oven. We'll just kind of keep an eye on it and let it go for about 20 minutes so that cheese is melted, and we'll be good to go. So while that's cooking, join me in the living room. I'm going to share a little inspirational message about what God has laid on my heart this week and hopefully encourage you for this next week.
Made by Vogel is a father and son business that produces high-quality handmade wooden products such as cutting boards, bowls, bottle stoppers, and more. Products for sale can be found on their Etsy site or in downtown Altoona at the Clay Cup. You can't go wrong buying from Made by Vogel.
Hi, my name is Dad Jake,
And I'm Aiden. We're the 5th generation of Dick's Home Care.
and our family is here for your health.
One of the biggest benefits we have here at Dick's Home Care is the Bruno stair lift. Basically, the Bruno stair lift is built right here in the USA. It is constructed of aluminum track with steel gear rack. This machine is reliable and they back it with their 100% warranty lifetime.
Dick's Home Care, Central Pennsylvania's leader in mobility products.
Hey guys, thanks so much for joining me today here in my living room. I just want to share with you guys a little bit about my first major surgery that I had when I was 6 years old. Like we talked about before, my parents got a letter when I was 5 about how I was going to have this major surgery, that they were going to remove my legs and rebuild my spine out of my tibia bone. Now for me, and for everybody, this was the second surgery they've ever done like this in the world. As you can imagine, this was very frightening for my parents to have to go through this ordeal of trying to find out what this surgery was all about, what it meant, and who was going to perform it. And luckily, I was in Portland, Oregon, at an orthopedic Shriners Hospital. And the doctors that had done the original surgery, the first one in the world, they were able to come to Portland and talk to my parents and talk to many of the doctors that were involved in this team about what their plan was to do this surgery. Now for me, I'm only 6 years old and I'm not really understanding what's going on, and my parents are explaining to me that I'm having this major surgery, but I still didn't understand what that meant. And they're talking about removing my legs, and I was like, okay, they didn't really work that well anyways, so I didn't kind of understand what was going on. But here I was in front of this auditorium of like 100 doctors, and they're all sitting there and they're watching me. I'm up on this stage, I'm on this platform, and they're describing to these other colleagues of theirs about how they're going to perform this surgery and how they're going to remove my legs and rebuild my spine. And for me, I'm thinking this is great. I'm like, this is awesome. It's like being, a star, like, on stage. And I'm sitting there on this table and I'm like crawling around, and I'm doing flips on the floor and everything, I'm going crazy, but behind me there's like my x-rays of my back, and these doctors are talking about how they're gonna, manipulate my whole body and change it for my whole entire life. And to me, I didn't really understand. But I was quick to realize what was going on, obviously, when that surgery actually happened. And it was about 6 months later, they had it all scheduled, and it was over at Shriners Hospital in Portland, Oregon. And they admitted me the night before. I'm there, and I'm staying in the hospital with my dad. And I remember him being in the hospital room with me, and I slept on his chest that night because I was nervous about being in this strange place and didn't really understand what was going on. And he took me out of the bed, and he put me on his chest, and he was holding me that night. He's like, "Oh, you'll be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. Try to get some rest, And I remember he gave me an Oreo, and I know that after midnight you're not allowed to eat, And he's like, "Oh, you can have an Oreo, And he gave me an Oreo late that night, And it was pretty funny there. But anyhow, so they come about 5 o'clock in the morning. They come and get me, still not really understanding what's going on, and they take me down to the pre-op room, and I'm giving my mom and dad a hug, and my pastor's there, and he's praying over me, and I'm getting kind of nervous because all this attention and things like that, and then finally they take me back, and back then they didn't start your IV on you, or that when you're that young, they just gassed you basically. And so they put this big rubber mask on my mouth, and they're like, "Just take some breaths, and everything." And I just remember to this day the smell of the anesthesia and how bad it smelled. And they told me they had made it, they scented it like bubblegum, but I didn't smell any bubblegum. I smelled like just like rubber cement. It was terrible. But anyhow, I end up falling asleep, and then I wake up. 9 hours later, this surgery's done, and I'm in ICU, and I'm laying there, and I am in extreme pain, but I can't yell to anybody because I'm intubated still, and I'm in ICU, and I'm waking up, and I'm kind of going in and out, and not really understand where I am, but I just know I'm hurting, and I'm trying to swallow, and I can't because I got a tube down my throat, and I'm like scared to death, I don't know what's going on, and finally, I get to the point where I start like ripping my IVs out and everything, because I'm like getting frustrated, obviously, but I'm kind of coming in and out. Anyhow, I end up getting out of ICU about a couple days later, and as I'm waking up out of anesthesia, I realized what had happened, and I reached down and I noticed that my body is totally different, and here I had something a day ago, and then the next day I wake up and I'm really coming to, and I notice that my legs are gone, and they're all bandaged up, and I have bandages all over my back, and I'm in pain all the time, and everything. And the nurses are coming in and giving me pain meds, and they're talking to me, and my mom and dad are there, and everything like that. And I was just thinking about how my life was going to change from that moment on, that how I was going to be different, and the stories that my mom and dad had told me about me being unique, and how wonderfully made I was, and fearfully made I was, how God made me, and then I didn't understand what that meant as this new person without legs, and how that was going to be. And but I knew at that point that life was going to be totally different. And so I'm laying there, and of course I'm there in the hospital for about 2 weeks, and then I finally go home, and I go home in a full body cast. I'm in a body cast up to the middle of my chest, and I'm in that body cast for a year. I'm in a plaster cast every other month. They're going in and changing it, put me in a new one. And the last 3 months, they put me in a plastic cast. And this is the actual cast that I had. I was a little bit smaller back then, as you can see. But I was in this body cast for the last 3 months of that first year. And as you can see, I kind of wore it out because I crawled everywhere. And eventually was able to get back to my somewhat normal life again by crawling around and climbing on things, and just like I do today, climbing on the counter and things like that. So when I'm in that big conference room in front of all these doctors, and they're describing about how they're gonna do this surgery and remove my legs, they talk about how they're gonna use these metal rods. Now, obviously not this metal rod because that would be disgusting, so I wouldn't hang on to that, but this is the rods that they use. They're called Harrington rods, and they're stainless steel. and they used 2 of these rods on either side of my spine, and they grafted the tibia bone from my leg onto my spine and filled the missing part that I had in my spine. So they had attached these clips to the top of the spine and then graft the new tibia bone in the middle, and then it had another clip on the bottom that would attach to the bottom of the spine to hold it all together. And I had these metal rods in all the way till I was 15 years old, but we'll get into that. That's another story for another show. But the metal rods there that I had really gave me the support I needed to heal while I was in the body cast and things like that, until everything kind of became more sturdy over time. And when I had another surgery about a year later, after the major surgery had been done, they went back in, and by then they looked in the new spine, the new bone graft had already grown new blood vessels and had already started to calcify over the metal rod and everything. So the surgery had really gone really well, and they were amazed by the progress that it had made. It was really during that time period of adjustment for myself and about how I was different, and not so much, in my life, but also how I was going to be treated differently. And we're going to get more into depth into that, and how not so much my personal mindset changed, because I knew that who God had made me, and that he was going to get me through this struggle, but how he was going to change my life and to give me the tools that I needed to overcome all the challenges that I had faced or was going to face later on in life. And we're going to dive more into that next week about the reaction from people and how I was treated as a young kid. But for now, let's go enjoy those chicken enchiladas. And thanks, guys, so much for joining me today on Dano on the Counter. We got our crew here, and we're going to try our chicken enchiladas that we made today. And hope to catch you guys next week. We make another recipe on Dano on the Counter.
Dick's Home Care can help you stay mobile. Dick's offers a full line of scooters to help with mobility both inside and outside your home. Take your scooter with you wherever you go with a scooter lift from Dick's. They are available for most vehicles. If standing or sitting is becoming difficult, a lift chair from Dick's will make life easier. There are many styles and sizes to choose from. And Dick's honors warranties and service on what we sell. Dick's Home Care, Central Pennsylvania's leader in mobility products.
Hi, my name is Dad Dick,
And I'm Aiden. We're the 5th generation of Dick's Home Care.
and our family is here for your health.
Purify O3 is the simple, effective way to clean your CPAP or BiPAP. It provides hospital-grade sanitation, killing 99.99% of bacteria and germs with the touch of a button. Everything you need comes in one affordable kit for just $1.90. It's available exclusively at Dick's Home Care, Central Pennsylvania's leader in home medical equipment.